Ciao, and welcome to What's Cooking, Ari, and week 27 of The Sweetest Kind of Death. Appreciate you joining me. We've already crossed the halfway mark. And this week, it is the illusion of growth without limits. The years after we bought our condo were a whirlwind. Growth everywhere. Love, work, family. And on September 3rd, 2005, Asal and I celebrated our wedding day. Nearly 2 years after the bear ceremony with folding chairs, we finally had the wedding that we had dreamed of. The foundation had been built first, and now we added the celebration. At the same time, we were building something else down the street, our office. The office down the street was a rented apartment that we had converted into our own office. It became more than a workplace, it became a sanctuary for Bobby, who needed stability and a roof. And it also became the seedbed of our business. And our first client was the Cox internet technician who came to install the modem. Opportunity knocked in the form of a service call, and we turned it into business. That was our rhythm. Nothing wasted, everything leveraged. And that is the inception of PersiaPod, my father's voice. That office was also the birthplace of something very deep for me and my father. He had lost function of his kidneys. Dialysis was brutal, wearing him down. But I knew what he needed most wasn't just treatment, it was purpose. Research and Education Center of Persian Language had once been his stage, uniting Persians in Los Angeles, giving them a cultural anchor. I wanted to rekindle that flame once again, to bring his voice to the world. So I created Persia Pod, something that you now consider a YouTube podcast. This was the first Persian podcast site. We began preparing interviews with authors, public figures, former politicians, and we recorded introductions, segments, stories. I wanted his words to echo beyond dialysis rooms, beyond exile, and into every Persian household around the globe. It gave him hope. It gave him breath. It gave him back his voice. But I also carried my flaw, procrastination. I didn't always finish what I started. PersiaPod ran, but not at the speed that it deserved. My brother had just arrived in the States, bringing his own duties and distractions. And slowly, momentum slowed. And this is where doubt set in. All the while, the money flowed. Real estate was booming. Loans were easy. Growth seemed endless for everyone around me. But I had lived through a bubble before, the dot-com crash in the stock market. I remembered what it felt like to have the market vanish overnight. And deep inside, I was worried. What if it disappears again? So here is the reflection or the mirror of this chapter, the illusion of growth without limits. When times are good, we think they'll always be good. When the money flows, we think it will never stop. When love blooms, we think it will never wither. But growth always carries limits. Markets shift, health fades, projects stall. Even the strongest roots need tending. The question isn't whether growth will slow, it's whether we've built deep enough to withstand it. So, how does my definition of love reframe growth in this way? When you look at love through leadership, through stewardship, growth is not about riding waves, but stewarding the seeds so that they survive the storm. When you look at love through opportunity, through creativity, the Cox technician that came to our home to set up this system became a client because we treated every interaction as fertile ground. When we look at love through a vision that unites, PersiaPod wasn't just a project, it was a vision to unite voices across continents. And finally, when you look at love through empowerment, which leads to enrichment, true growth isn't just profit, it's the enrichment of family, love, and legacy. And in the bank of time and trust, Growth is not about infinite deposits. It's about consistent deposits that compound even when markets shift. So here is the practical reflection of this week. Where in your life are you assuming growth will never end? Where are you spending, building, or living as if the tide will never turn? So here is your kill move. Step one, identify one area where you are living as if growth is permanent. Step two, ask, what happens if the wave stops tomorrow? Step three, within 48 hours, take one action to root that growth into something deeper, like love or family or legacy. And step four, like always, record it as a deposit because growth without limits is illusion, but growth with roots is resilience. And here is the closing candle for this week. Growth without limits is fantasy. Growth with roots is survival. And enjoy this week, and we'll see you next week. Ciao.